Hello. When the Studio series came out, it was all about the Bayverse figures from the first film, Revenge of the Fallen, Dark of the Moon, the one that has the bit in it about a Texas law which really makes it the worst one, even though it should be the best one apart from that, and The Last Night, which what was that about again? Of course, later on they went into the Bumblebee film, which is to be expected. However, it was inevitable, as all Transformer things do, to go to G1. The Studio series went to the '86 film, which is pretty good by all standards. It did give us some semi-interesting things. Granted, not as interesting as the other films from the line, but it has given us some fairly decent figures. Scourge, for example, some people say the Titan's Return figure is better, but this figure is a full-on G1 Scourge, and it does what G1 Scourge needs to do, essentially. You've got the Dinobots, which at the minute have been praised pretty highly by most people. We've got Sludge coming up next, which always seems to be the black sheep of the Dinobots. We'll see. The Deluxes in the '86 line, however, have been a bit hit and miss, as so have the Voyagers. Voyagers and Deluxes from the '86 line, however, have been a bit mixed. A lot of people have praised Hot Rod, and a lot of people have brought him with just absolute contempt. I did have him, and just with absolute contempt, because of how many stress marks you get on the weapons and tabs. It really shouldn't be possible on a figure that does so much. They really should have tested it, but alas, QC has been Hasbro's bread and butter as of late, although there's not been that much in the Kingdom line. Anyway, subject of today's video is Studio Series Deluxe Jazz. A figure that a lot of people don't seem to like. We'll see. We'll see. In robot mode, it basically looks like a perfect G1 Jazz, to the most part. There are some bits that, because of how it is, you can't really do exactly correct and perfect. The chest is G1 Jazz to a T. It's the car hood with the lights at the front. Nicely painted. A little bit off on this one, but not too bad. You've got some silver going down to black and blue for the lower body area, and then you've got some white for the upper legs, black for the lower leg, and silver for the inner leg and toe area. This bit and this bit, I suppose, is a bit of a discretion from the actual G1 figure, but then again, where else are you going to put it? Unless you're going to make it bigger and cost more, this is what you're going to get. The backpack is a bit big, but if I'm honest, I'd rather have it with a big backpack like this than either with a sprawling one or a small one or none at all, because it'd just be missing something. Yes, it'd be more accurate, but it just feel like it'd be missing something. The arms are fairly standard. They're nothing really stand outy. Black here with a bit of detail, white here, and then black for the hands. The head is one of the weakest aspects, I'd say, because the face, while pretty spot on for Jazz, is either in two expressions, either a bit of a disapproving frown or a smile. It's one or the other. but the blue is quite nice. I would have liked the face to have a bit of a black wash on it, or maybe done in gunmetal, just to make it a bit more stand out, but it is what it is, I guess. Although I do like the blue and the Autobot symbol on the front here. Very nicely done. Gaz also comes with a G1-ish gun, and it looks nice enough. Does the job, and you can put a blast effect part on it. Yes, you can. It also has a post on here, either side, so you can put it on his back if you so wish, because why not? One thing I've noticed is he's also got ports on the bottoms of his feet, because you could possibly integrate this with some of the weaponizers from the Wolf Cybertron line, I guess. When it comes to robot mode, I'd give it a 24 out of 25. Articulation is fairly decent. The head is on a ball joint, though you've got to be careful of this flap where the head sits, because it isn't connected anywhere, so when you're messing with it, it's easy for it to bob down a bit too much and sometimes disconnect, which is a shame, as it's just only friction tabbed in. But it is unfortunately what it is. The arms, however, fare much better, going up and down just that far, which is as much as you need. Actually, this joint here, which connects the arms to the rest of the body, can be quite helpful if you get it just right, just giving you a bit more articulation. Doesn't go out that far, but it's a bit extra. It doesn't need to, and it's tough enough and sturdy enough not to move, but you can move it if you need it. The shoulders go all the way around. You've got elbow rotation, and it's about 90 degrees of bend at the elbow. The hands don't twist, but you can make them go in and out if you want, due to the nature of the transformation. The waist does swivel, although depending on some copies, I've heard one or two things of the upper torso swiveling when you turn it as well, which is not what you want. It does also get in the way of the backpack due to these two sections here, so when you knock it, the backpack could come up a bit, which it's a thing, unfortunately, but it is what it is. The legs do go out that far, so not quite the full splits, but you get a fair range. They go forward that far and back that far because of the nature of the waist. Now, the knees are a special thing. It's a shame they've got no proper locking tabs, just friction joints, because when you move them, sometimes they'll be like that, and if you move them too far, they'll come out. You have to squeeze them in to make sure they stay in. Otherwise, if you don't make sure you've squeezed them in, then they'll come out like that too easily, which is not what you want, and it's a little bit annoying. I've also got articulation at the ankle, which goes that far, so you can do a nice big stance if you really need to, and because of the transformation, you've got the toe going like that. Articulation is fairly good, although the knees could have been done a little bit better, and the joint connecting the head could have been a little bit better. I'll give articulation 21 out of 25. Next is the transformation, and for a lot of people this is one of the major detriments of this figure. The whole of the backpack is painted translucent plastic, and you may or may not have seen the pictures of this shattering, or at the very least breaking. So to start with transforming, just fold the hands in like so, fairly standard so far. Fold the toes in like so, and then just so you've got a bit of clearance, fold the backpack out, fold out the doors of the car, and fold out this back section, which is on a double hinge. Just be careful, because you do kind of need to get it underneath the doors, so you might need to finagle it a bit, but once you've got it, you'll know it's worked. And just leave it like that, so you've got a bit of room to manoeuvre. Then what you do is pull in at the knees unless it's already done so, and just push them in like so. A bit Combiner Wars, and you basically, if you want to get a fan dwarf jazz mode. Then, because you've got these two tabs right here, you can push them in, because you won't need them to do anything else essentially, and rotate the waist around. You'll need to rotate this waist around again, but I'll show you how that works in a moment. Then pull this section up, just leave it like that for now, and then what you need to do, get this silver section here and rotate it around so it's facing that way. Sometimes you'll need to rotate the legs around again, sometimes you won't. It depends on if you've got a good copy or not. Mine's fine, so I'll not need to. Then what you need to do is rotate the rest of the body back so it's looking more like a car, and then if it's not already done so with the head, fold the head all the way down like so. And then you've got this little tab right here that folds up and it'll go there. It sits nice and flushly. Then what you want to do is, for the arms, you want to fold them so they're at the side, unless they're already like it, and then rotate them upwards like so at the hip, at the shoulder section, and at this section. Rotate them the other way around, making sure the head is nice and flat, otherwise you will not get anything in, like so. While you're doing that, you need to rotate the hands, the shoulder, sorry, and rotate at the lower arm. So once you've got it all nice and aligned, the top section will be like that, and the arm will be like this, with this tab showing the same side as the wheels. So same on the other side. So rotate and rotate this at the same time, and then rotate this at the same time. So it's like so. That's why you need to rotate this section, because there ain't going to be any clearance otherwise. The instructions aren't up to Hasbro's normal quality of not telling you anything. They're not too bad here. They're not great, but they're not bad. Next, what you want to do is to collapse this roof section. There's two tabs on there. If I just zoom in, two tabs on there, just where my finger is, and then there's two posts, yeah, all translucent painted plastic right there, and they will just poke on there. And when you're doing that, you'll be able to push on this double hinge here, if, well, you can see it's quite easy, and it'll just smush in together. And what will help is getting the doors, and there's this port here and this post here, which will go together. Honestly, I always think something's going to go wrong when that happens, but never happened yet. Touch wood. One thing you might have a problem with is this back section might not align properly. You just need to make sure it's all in together. Just be careful there. Finally, what you do is rotate, unless it got stuck, these back sections till they're like that. If it feels like it's stuck, just give it a bit of force and it'll come out. Transformation isn't too bad. You've got to get used to it one or two times to understand how it works. This clear plastic section, I've not had a problem, but a lot of people have. Normally I won't take any points off because I've not had any problems, and this is my video. But in this case, I am going to have to take a couple of points off because I just know something's happened to this. The only time I've had clear plastic problems is when I had the Prime Veercon for the first time. Yes, the figure that everyone thinks is amazing, the clear plastic just disintegrated on me one day. And that being said, this might be a bit better, but with how many quality control issues people have had with this, I just don't know. Transformation, I'm going to give 19 out of 25. The car mode is quite nice, however. It doesn't have any logos to replicate what vehicle it is, because it didn't have the licensing, I'm going to guess. They've got everything else to show it's of that vehicle, apart from the back. The back is a bit different because of how it transforms. So you've got some back robot kibble, and then on the other side, yeah, it's a sort of semi-shell former, I'd say, but a good one. It's definitely got good colours, though. I have seen the Replo labels, and they do make it look a lot better, I do have to say. Although, I like it how it is. I think it works. This clear plastic, though, damn, it looks good, but that transformation, I can't knock how good it looks with the clear plastic. It's got the numbers on there, which did have the problem before. You've got red and blue at the top. You've got the nice Autobot symbol and the blue, and the rims of the wheels are painted, which are quite nice. Vehicle mode, I'm going to give a 24 out of 25. Studio Series 86 Deluxe Jazz does do some good posing, good articulation, and looks really good as far as I'm concerned in both robot mode and alt mode. The articulation gets you what you need for the most part, and the only downside is that transformation. I think it's alright, but I can see it could be a problem in the future. If you do get this, and I do highly recommend it, just be careful of that. I give this figure an 85 out of 100.